What's going on, Knicks fans? Welcome to another edition of the Knicks Film School pregame show. My name is GMAC. He is XJ. He is Sean. And we are here to preview the Knicks' upcoming matchup, their third consecutive at Madison Square Garden, against the surprisingly off to a hot start as well, Charlotte Hornets. All done without LaMelo Ball. They are also 2-1 on the season. They feature a resurgent Dennis Smith Jr. He will get brought up tonight. They feature a number of targets that we wanted to trade Julius Randle for in the offseason, and one of them will not be playing tonight. Terry Rozier will not be in the lineup. We're going to get to all of that in a second. We also got our latest edition of Bettin' and Sweatin', where each of us will make a pick on tonight's game and calculate it at the end of the night and see who wins at the end of the year. We introduced this last game, I should say, and I was 6 points away from hitting mine. Thank you, Knicks, for having 3 consecutive 30-plus quarters and then deciding to get 19 in the fourth quarter. Thanks, Tibbs. Guys, it's good to see you. Sean, haven't seen you in a couple games. Good to have you back. XJ, I got to say, I've been looking forward to asking you this question all day, and it might be the question I ask you like the rest of the season as it continues to reveal itself as either real or fake. What do you make of Julius Randle? Because I actually thought he played a fine 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter got a little shot happy. In hindsight, I blame more the rotations than anything else, that he had to play 11 minutes in the fourth quarter. But I was quite satisfied with 3 quarters of Julius Randle. And yet it was at the expense of a pretty great Obi Toppin performance too, that got cut short at 15 minutes. How are you processing what we've seen through 3 games? Is Randle at least playing well enough that you, one of the largest Obi Toppin supporters, can justify him playing less than 15 minutes?
So I don't know if one of is speaking
The.
highly enough. Yeah, okay, I appreciate that.
Gotcha. The biggest Obi Toppin supporter.
So this part of the segment is for Rob Pelinka specifically. So Rob can clip this. Julius is great. He's amazing. It's totally sustainable how he's playing, for sure. Like, this is the true Randle. He's going to be all NBA again. Definitely worth more than 2 unprotected firsts. To any desperate team out there trying to win a championship, you should absolutely target Julius Randle. Okay, so now that that's clipped, we can get that out of the way. I really want to take a deep dive at the numbers for Randle. Can we go ahead and do that?
Please do. Okay.
So first, let's look at I'm looking at the league adjusted shooting numbers for Randle. So league adjusted stats, or like plus stats, they just compare a player's stats to the rest of the league with 100 as the average, right? So for example, Julius Randle's field goal plus is 111, meaning that his field goal percentage is 11% better than average. His effective field goal plus is 109, which would be the highest mark of his career. 9% better than the average in the NBA. His free throw rate plus, interestingly, is basically that's the rate that you get at the line, is 110, which would be the lowest mark of his career. And the ridiculous one, his 2-point percentage plus is 118. So that is like completely astronomical. For example, I think Jokic's last year was 122. So that's like elite of the elite in terms of 2-point percentage. And then let's look at more numbers. He's shooting 77% from within the restricted area. 77%. 70% from the paint, not including the restricted area. And then everything outside of the paint, he's shooting 29%. So the main thing I want to point out with all of those stats is that his shooting percentages around the basket are amazing, ridiculous, astronomical, completely unsustainable, right? But last year and the year before, his shooting percentages in those same areas were around the same. So this is his best season ever and his worst season ever. So this is a completely different Julius Randle. His jump shooting is still terrible. It has been terrible the first 3 games, but he's taking different kinds of shots. He's taking shots close to the basket, and he's hitting those at a really high clip, the highest of his career. So this is kind of like hybrid Pelicans Randle plus like Knicks, great elite Randle. This is like somewhere in the middle. Do I think this is sustainable? Absolutely not. It's just not. Like, that's not even up for debate. He can't shoot at this clip close to the basket. But the process is sustainable. He can absolutely attack the basket, take his little fadeaways and turnarounds with a foot in the paint as opposed to from 15 feet away. That's the main difference that he's making. I look back at the film to kind of confirm what the stats say, and that's where the shots are coming from. So, is Julius Randle not terrible right now? He's not terrible. He's doing pretty good, and he should continue to do this. To take this same approach, but he's not going to maintain this level all year. It's not going to happen.
So, but didn't you just? So correct me if I misheard you, but didn't you just say that he's shooting at around what he has the last 2 years, close to the basket?
No, I said that he shot around the same last year and the year
so
before.
The last
close
2
to the
years in
basket.
a row he did. So right now he's shooting at an unreal clip, close to 77%. You said, right?
Correct. Yeah. And the real thing is that in 2020, his All NBA season, the reason why he had that All NBA season was that his shooting was ridiculous. His 3-point shooting, his mid range shooting, those things are never coming back. I truly believe that. What he did is made an adjustment, and instead of taking those 15 footers, he's now taking like 10 footers, and he's making those at a really high rate. It's a great approach. It makes a lot of sense. The stats support that. He was able to do that in New Orleans for that season, but is he going to make it at this clip? Highly doubtful. So that's my opinion.
It's improbable. You don't
extremely improbable.
It would be a shocker. Like the 1 year that he did shoot that well was the anomaly to the rest of his career. Sean, look, I personally, I agree with XJ on the sustainability of what we've seen so far as the results are concerned. I'm just really happy with the process. A lot of the process that we've seen right now. There's one specific example, and you don't want to use one play to validate takes or decisions on rotations, but it does seem an approach has changed where I want to say it was a second quarter, he had a guy playing off him almost to give him the 3-pointer. Last year and year before, Randle takes it, and probably one of those 2 years it goes in. And instead he decided to go downhill and take it to the basket, and it led to a layup. And I feel like I've seen that a lot throughout the first 3 games of the season. It's why I don't have many complaints about Julius Randle. If I do, they're very few. I know we talked about this. I know where you stand on this, but have we started to call the dogs off a little bit with obviously we just addressed Rob Pelinka at the top of the pod, at the top of the show, but I guess how do you feel about Julius's first 3 games, and do you think the masses at large are feeling a different way about him?
I think so. This is small sample size theater, as our friends at the Hoop Collective. Well, I don't know if they're our friends, but
I got no beef. I got no beef.
Well, Tim Bontemps has said he loves to get a Knicks jab in here and there, but but overall, he's also very high on the Knicks this year, so it's fine.
All right, so all but one friend at the Hoop Collective. There you go.
Yes. But Brian Windhorst has coined the term small sample size theater. So after 3 games, everything looks good. After 3 games, what it has told me is that clearly a conversation was had, whether Leon had it with him, or Tibbs had it with him, or if Julius had it with himself, where he said, okay, what I did last year doesn't work. And what I think the conversation really was with Tibbs saying, all right, we're going to try and put you in a position to succeed because we're not going to have that last year again. Because we put too much on your plate for 2 years. 1 year it worked, 1 year it didn't. The dogs have been called off. I think Julius is a very self-aware person. I think he, not literally, I think he figuratively reads his tweets. And he knew that we all knew that something had to change. The question is, did he know it? And it looks like he has. It looks like he did, and he's figured that out. Now, as I've said to you, and I don't remember if I've said it on the Campus Pregame show, but when the shit hits the fan, people don't rise to the occasion; they sink to their level of training. So,
yeah, you said that.
When the shit hits the fan, does Julius revert back to, all right, I'll save this, long twos, baseline 18-footer, spin moves, what have you, right? Like, does he do that? So far to this point, no. And I think, like, because like earlier I said he reads his tweets because, listen, Andrew, we said it all the time, and Jonathan said it as well. Like, game one, if he was on the bullshit game one, he would have got booed off the building.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that he knew that.
Can I hit on that point real quick?
Yes.
Game one, they're blowing out the Pistons. Not only was he fine and like okay being like the third guy, but when they started chanting for Obi in the third quarter, when they're up by 20, he got John to defend him with his like being fine with it and walking to the bench. That's how fine Julius has been so far. He got a defender in Jonathan Macri.
That's like the biggest heel turn of
that is. Well, maybe a couple more turns as the season goes along. We'll see.
But he said that, and I agree. I was at the game and I was sitting next to Cedric Shine, and we were like, "This is whack. Like, why are we like we're up by like 20 something points? Like, why are we chanting for Obi Toppin? Like, that's whack." Also, was pretty whack. Also, later in the fourth quarter, a fuck Trae Young's chant started in the top, and I was like, this is why people think this mother. Can I say motherfucker?
Yes, you already just said fuck Trae Young.
This is why people think this motherfucker lives in our head rent free. Because, like, why would I be thinking about Trae Young? But it died down really quickly. But I say that to say,
okay,
we knew game one, if he was on the bullshit, it was gonna get ugly, and it didn't. And as long as things keep going well, everything will be fine. But we know, like, after today, the murder zone starts. Milwaukee on Friday night is the next game. We have Milwaukee. I don't know the order, but like we have Milwaukee, we have Philly, we have Brooklyn. Like, it's a murderer's row.
It's Milwaukee and then Cleveland on Sunday.
Yes,
yes.
And I think it's Philly after that. No, it's Atlanta after that.
It's Atlanta after that, and then Philly.
So we'll see what happens if things don't go well. But for now, Julius, he's playing with himself, he's bought in, and the results are copacetic.
I agree. And just an observation as somebody who like studied this stuff in college, and Loki has a degree in public relations. Whoever is running Julius's PR team now, bravo. The Kaiden interview show is adorable, and like to the guy that booed the fans last year to have an Instagram slide up or a picture up with him dapping up a fan saying greatest fans in the world. Bravo. The all is apparently being forgiven. We're just going to pretend last season never happened. And I dig it. The PR campaign, the rehabilitation of Julius Randle. It's not like you have to rehab that much because all he did was play bad last year. So playing good will fix all of that. But I dig it.
But I also give him credit because a lot of celebrities don't listen to their PR team.
No, they don't.
So
there is clearly a plan being executed, is my point. And I see it and I dig it,
Mm-hmm. So
Julius clearly had a plan for his PR and is executing it perfectly, and had a plan for his game on the court and is executing it perfectly, because his shot selection is completely different. He is getting to specific spots very much intentionally. I think he's like 1 of 6 from mid-range all season. He is not taking those 18-footers. It's some insane number like that. I could double check it, but it's either 1 of 8 or 1 of 6 or 1 of 9.
I think John said it on a post game. Like he had taken like 5 shots. All but 5 of his shots are in the paint or behind the arc.
Correct. Exactly. Yep. He's probably 1 of 6 then from the mid range. He is absolutely making sure that he's on the James Harden, that James Harden shot diet, in the paint or behind the line, one or the other. I mean, he's shooting 33% behind the line, which I think that's great for him. Honestly,
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
At this point, it's better than the 30 we got last year. So if anything, if he gets it up to imagine that gets to 35 this year, and he's not taking any long twos. So Rob Pelinka, hope you're watching. We have a couple super chats to get to, and they're from the same person. First up, Mensa Smith. What up, Mensa? Couldn't be with us tonight. The Randle Assance, hat tip to Benji, is real, but came at the expense of RJ Barrett breakout campaign, unfortunately. More on that in a second. Then another one from Mensa Smith. And also, this is the best pregame show on the internet, and I'm not biased at all. You guys are killing it. Cosign, best pregame show on the internet. I just want to touch on this real quick. because an article surfaced today that a source, and the source is that a source within the organization has said they're worried about RJ's workload because he's exerting so much energy on the defensive end, guarding the other team's best player because Jalen Brunson can't guard the other team's best player. That as a result, RJ Barrett is so tired that that's why he's off to such a poor shooting start. I want to shout out Benji, who quote tweeted this, and there's like few people I trust more with the game film than Benji Ritholtz, who said, so he guarded Ja night 1, like true, but didn't he guarded Ivy night 2 and Brunson guarded Cade, and then game 3 he took turns guarding who'd he say not guarding the
it's Franz and Cole Anthony.
There you go. He guarded Franz on Monday night, which like wouldn't be Cole Anthony. So
yes,
as a result, he called it nonsense. I didn't notice that first of all, RJ had a good game on the other night, and I don't know.
He had a good half.
He had a good half. Good point. What do you guys make of this? Sean, we'll start with you. It felt so much like how is this getting out there? Like I'm not trying to discredit the report because it came from a Celtics reporter, but it is also a guy that's been around the league for a while and would have a source like that. I just this sounds like something that came from RJ's camp to like excuse a poor shooting slump. If there's any merit to this, how does this get out? And also, like, really, this is what the guy that usually starts slow shooting is talking about his slow shooting start with excuses. I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I remember someone said years ago, like whenever a story comes out from an anonymous source, figure out who will benefit because that's probably the source. I mean, is Leon going to leak this? Is Tibbs going to leak this? Is Julius going to leak this? Is Wes? It probably came from either RJ's camp or somebody close enough to RJ, because it could be someone that went rogue or like a family member, what have you, right? When I saw this, the first thing I thought of was, so how come we didn't hear an excuse last year? We had to cover for Kemba Walker's defensive deficiencies, right? The concern I have is that now that RJ has been paid, there is the pressure to justify the contract, because I think RJ definitely reads his tweets. Like I think most kids under the age of 27 read their tweets, right?
Yeah. Was he the one that said he got rid of social media, or was that Obi that said he got rid of social?
I think it was RJ got off for a while.
Okay.
Like I actually remember seeing like someone had retweeted a tweet about someone talking something about RJ, and I saw that RJ had responded to it with like a laughing face, and I was like, like you could see in game 1 there was a lot of pressure. He, because he said he sees himself on the same level as John. He didn't play so well, and you could see he was just pressing. I was did a space last night with the locker room, and we spent 3 hours looking at RJ Barrett film, and we just saw like so many times where he would make up his mind, like, I'm going to the basket and go. And that has been fully on display in game 1, not as much in game 2, definitely the first half of game 3. So this may be a little bit damage control. I'm not worried because it's 3 games. I'm not worried because this is unfortunately what he has done his entire career. I'm just concerned that somebody felt that this had to come out, because it doesn't do any favors. Well, you know what? The RJ Hive, and we know all about hives. The RJ Hive was like, see, told you, look, it's because of Jalen Brunson, and the RJ haters are gonna be like, these excuses. This is why he's mid. And the people who live in the gray area, like the rest of us, are gonna be like, all right, I wish this didn't come out, but this will be a non-issue to me.
XJ, what about you? What did you make of this?
I mean, who the source is, it doesn't really make sense for it to come from anyone besides someone in RJ's camp or someone who knows RJ. Who would know that RJ is tired from guarding Ja? Like I don't know where else that could come from. But at the same time, I don't really think it's good damage control. Like RJ's upside is based on the fact that he's supposed to play defense. He's supposed to be able to guard the number 1 option on the other team's offense, and he's also supposed to produce on our end. Like that's what his upside is based off of. Not that he's going to be some elite one-way player scoring 25 points per game on amazing efficiency. It's that he can play D and play O. So if he's exhausted from guarding, Cole Anthony, and he can't make jump shots because of that, that doesn't look good either. So I don't even think it makes sense as a way to kind of cope for what's going on.
So I have to confess something. This is a safe space, right? I can
You're
tell
the
you
source.
guys anything. I'm the source that went out. And no, I have to confess something. If you end up seeing this or hearing from somebody that watched this later, I'll come clean. I didn't watch the post-game show on Monday night. It was my night off. I did the pregame with you guys. I watched the game, and then I put on a movie with my lady. We enjoyed my first legit night off in a long time. Having said that, I wanted to know if they got to, and there's a long way to connect it back to RJ, I promise. If they talked about how Cam has looked in the rotation so far, how much better he's looked. And then him and John and Dexter talked yesterday about when Grimes comes back, is Fournier the one to lose his role in the rotation rather than Grimes, rather than Cam? The real thing we should be talking about is a potential healthy Evan Fournier scratch. Because his team lacks so much shooting, I'm just going to throw it out there that these 9-minute Derrick Rose performances have me wondering if he's the new Taj. And if maybe we see, Emmanuel Quickley, as far as I'm concerned, is the backup point guard. He's been the first guy off the bench, first guard off the bench, the first 3 games of the season. He doesn't shot it well, which tells me that Tibbs trusts him. But if he is shooting the ball well, he'll trust him more. If he doesn't, then maybe it's a 13-minute Derrick Rose performance. Point being, I think when Grimes comes back, and if Cam is going to play like this, there is a world where we do see some shuffling, so that way Grimes can be the person that guards the new point of attack, and then RJ's out of excuses, is my point. I don't personally believe that maybe something was made of he's exerting so much energy on the other end, that's why he's off to a slow start, but I don't exactly think that it's necessarily A causes B. This RJ gets off to slow starts all the time, even when he's not playing good defense. I just think this is the nature of his game at times. And during the season, he can improve. He did it last year. I do wonder if I am validating parts of this report, at least, if the organization will make an effort to lighten his workload by inserting a Quentin Grimes. I'm still holding on to the fact that Quentin Grimes is the future starting 2 guard of this team. And I think it's with the idea that him and RJ take turns on Ja during games and take turns on the primary point of attack ball handler on the other team. So that's what I make of this. That it's not, I don't believe that it's a red alert issue. I just think it's something to monitor, potentially when they play Trae Young next week. Do we see them maybe switch some things up if Grimes is back? So
I think that I also find it interesting that they chose to outline Jalen and not Evan.
Yeah.
Because one, right now,
that is a good point.
And right now, shout out to Jeff J. He said that right now, Jalen Brunson is Obama in this town. You can't say nothing bad about him, which is true. But going after Evan would have been the easy choice because everyone would have been all right, this is bullshit, but Evan Fournier is not good in defense, and there's a sizable amount of the fan base that wants him on a pontoon boat shipped to Los Angeles. Rob Palenko, you're listening. But why Jalen and not Evan? That's kind of I think about that, and I think about you say Cam is playing better, all these things, Jalen came in, now Cam has been better, and it's just are all these things screwing with him mentally and just forcing him to be yo, I gotta show up because I was the franchise, and now it's Julius is back and the president of basketball operations, Gosselin, is here in the building, and Cam is doing this, and I don't know. I do want to see RJ with more bench lineups. I want to see him more with Hartenstein and with Grimes. I'm with you. I don't think Evan will be the starting shooting guard for this team for very long. But it's just disheartening to see. And from everything that we know about RJ Barrett, this is the last report this is the last thing I would expect to hear attributed to like his camp. Well, not officially, but we figured that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I think it's really concerning that if it's coming out of RJ's camp and he's targeting Brunson, because it feels like it's about the spotlight, and this is way too speculative. Like, I don't even feel comfortable speculating about it.
I have the reckless speculation music playing, so you're
okay.
good. Let's
you're good.
You're good.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm good now. I like to think I like your angle, AC. Like, I wish that was true. I wish it was a conspiracy between Grimes and RJ to get Evan out of the rotation. Like, just miss all your shots and then say it's because you're exerting so much energy on defense, and then Grimes can jump in. But it's really hard to say. I want to say this is like no big deal, and RJ's shooting is going to turn around. And it's not going to matter anyway. At least that's what I'm hoping for. But I would love to see Grimes and Cam in the rotation. I will believe it when I see it. I don't believe that Tibbs is going away from Fournier. I
think Derrick Rose, which is the crazier part about the idea that Derrick Rose could be out of the rotation, is because like, would Tibbs really go away from Derrick Rose? I don't know.
True.
I see this 9-minute game had me like, Tibbs is only playing Derrick Rose 9 minutes,
and Derrick Rose is shooting 40% from three. So.
Right, like a productive 9 minutes, you know? So could he?
There has to be a reason why Thibodeau is only playing him 9 minutes, because when he shouldn't have been playing 30 minutes last year and 2 years ago, he did it anyway when, his sphincter got tight and it's like, all right, like, something's not right. Something not right with him. And this Grimes thing, something ain't right there either, because this has just been, it's no big deal. And it's been 2 weeks now. So something's up.
Is it possible that there's a front office order to get quickly more minutes no matter what? And this is the only way that Tibbs feels like he can fit him in. Is that possible?
I am glad you asked that, XJ. I'm so glad, because I've been thinking about this for like on and off for 2 weeks. There's no way that Tibbs would prefer Evan Fournier over Quentin Grimes. Like, when you think about who Tom Thibodeau is, like, no, right? Yet in the Leon Rose, I was gonna say press conference, fireside chat on MSG,
the show, yes, the Leon Rose show.
The Leon Rose show with Alan Hahn.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Leon said Tom Thibodeau has full autonomy over lineup decisions. And I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't mesh. And so when you said that, I'm like, it is clear that Leon has given Tibbs full autonomy, because Leon last year after this game should have pulled the effing plug and be like, Tom, this ain't working. This is what we're gonna do now. So I don't know. I don't know if there's something ain't clicking, like someone's not telling the truth or something like that. But I don't believe that. Like, why now? Like, why would there be the minutes restrict? Why would there be why would they start pulling the strings now? That is it's just weird to me.
It's confusing to me too. Look, man, these things usually work themselves out. I don't think they're gonna go to an 11-man rotation. I think we all have like a person the last couple of years. Like, even like the first year, we were all like, why isn't Frank playing over Elfrid Payton? Why isn't anybody playing over Elfrid Payton? But like, there always seems to be this 11th man that we wonder why he's not in the rotation. To start last year, it was Quentin Grimes. Then it became literally anybody under the age of 22. Well, Obi was 23 last year, so 23. And it was Cam. And I don't think they're going to go to 11. Like, Taj wasn't in the rotation until Nerlens Noel took 3 steps and was back on the day-to-day injury list. Like, I really do wonder if we're headed toward both of them ending up in the rotation. And Fournier is not the guy, because I do think he values shooting. Man, there's some lineup decisions as we overreact into 4 games of the season that I'm very curious to see how they play out. To wrap up just the RJ conversation. This would be more of an alarm for me if this wasn't also just what RJ has been the first 4 seasons of his career. Like, RJ goes through cold shooting slumps. I know we all want to think he's going to become not even Jimmy Butler in the regular season Jimmy Butler, let alone Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. But like, RJ can have very bad shooting stretches. They don't just last one game. They last like full weeks. And then like he has moments where it's like, all right, this is the guy. Like the guy that lives at the line and is efficient from 3. Like this was a good week from him. Now we're waiting for him to do it for a full season, but we'll see.
He's Mark Teixeira. That's exactly who he is.
Wow, that's a pull. But what are you referencing?
Mark Teixeira started slow every.
Who's Mark Teixeira?
Who are the Yankees?
Is that's the Yankees? It's baseball.
The Yankees are the team that print money but get clapped by the Astros every other year in the playoffs. That's the Yankees.
They don't print money anymore. They don't print money.
No, they print money
in a playoff game.
They print money. It's just all on Hal Steinbrenner's couch.
The Yankees film school. That is absolute. That's the most accurate thing I've ever heard. Actually,
don't get me started on those mothers. Don't get me started on those sons of.
Look, I want to feel so bad for you. I really do. I'd love to get in on this. The team that finished 3rd in my division might win the World Series,
and I'm rooting for them too.
I know the rest of the world is.
Too.
Listen,
I'm rooting for them too.
Houston strong, baby. I'm banging on a trash can the rest of the weekend.
Legitimize the Houston Astros anything.
Yes, we
can.
We can't give Philly anything. What are you talking about?
They need. Listen, as someone who spent. Listen, my son, who is 6 years old, has spent most of his life in Philadelphia. I lived there for 4 years. Philadelphia is a small place in my heart, but they could be playing. But they could be playing Ball State. I don't care. Like I would root for Ball State against the Astros. Deserve nothing. They deserve an asterisk forever.
I will say, who is left on Houston from that cheating team?
It doesn't matter.
It's
like the legacy.
2 guys left. Altuve's been horrible. Altuve hasn't done anything.
It's Gurriel, Altuve, and Bregman. Although Alvarez was there in 2019, but by then the cans had stopped. And
that was kind of after.
The alleged buzzers has started. So
only Bregman is, but Bregman's legit, I think. So I don't know.
I'm not saying that my number one choice, like. Shout out to my buddies at Metsmerized online. They put up a poll yesterday. What do Met fans want most to happen? And then the 3 options were A, the Astros win the World Series, B, the Phillies win the World Series, C, an asteroid hits the Earth and we all die. The Astros finished first. The asteroid, what I say, asteroid? The asteroid, that was a word. The asteroid finished second, and the Phillies winning the World Series finished third. So Mets fans would rather we all die than the Phillies win the World Series. So that's the state of things right now. I can't have 3 other division teams win the World Series in the last 4 years. I just can't. I just can't. I can't have all 4 teams win 2 titles. Well, no, 1 title because 2 because the Phillies. Okay. So I'm trying to do the math. The Nationals have only won 1. So since the Mets have last won the World Series, every other team in the division has won at least World Series. Has won at least 1 World Series. I can talk today, I promise. The Braves haven't won a second. The Braves have won 2. The Marlins have won 2.
Yes.
And this would be the second one for the Phillies.
This would be the 3rd for the Phillies because the Phillies won in 1980.
Right, but since the Mets last won 1.
Yes. They've won 2.
Since the Mets won in 86. So there would be 08.
86, yes.
So my point being, since I've been alive, I've never seen the Mets win 1. And if the Phillies win another, and they did it in a year, they went 4-15, got no hit against the Mets. They got no hit by the Mets. They had 3 ninth-inning collapses, including one that they were down 7-1. Like, that's the team that wins the World Series. I'll just give up on baseball forever. Okay, Brian Pignetti brings up a good point. Is this Knicks talk? Let's get back to the Knicks pregame show. They play the Hornets tonight. The Hornets are 2-1. They don't have LaMelo Ball for. Just correct me if I'm wrong. He's still not playing tonight. I looked briefly before. He just hasn't played yet this year. Terry Rozier is also out for this game. Tumultuous offseason for the Hornets. They hired Kenny Atkinson, and then he took one look at this organization and said, nah, I'll go be an assistant coach again. I'm just going to say the words Miles Bridges and move on. They just like did nothing in the offseason other than say the words Miles Bridges and move on. And I left them as a candidate to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, but I know, granted, one of their wins was against the Spurs. So, although the Spurs are 3-1 to start the year. So maybe they should be taken a little more seriously. This leads us into our segment called Bettin' and Sweatin', where each of us are going to make a pick for tonight's game, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel. And we will try to get the most value based off of that bet. I go back to Monday night and the scoreboard as of right now. So XJ and I both lost our bets. So we're both at minus 100. XJ had Cole Anthony with at least 20 points.
Right.
It missed. I had the over at 222.5, either 222.5 or 223. And it finished at 217. So I missed. Sean, you took the Knicks third quarter, right? Minus 1.5. Yes. And you hit. So you're at plus 181 for the year. And then Mensa took Isaiah Hartenstein over 6.5 rebounds, and it hit. So he's at plus 194 for the season. We're going to work on a scoreboard to show you guys going forward. So we'll start because Mensa's not here. We'll give his prop bet for tonight, and it's Jalen Brunson over 18.5 points. This is on FanDuel if you guys want to go play along. It's minus 104. So it's 104 to win 196. And then he said the Brunson burner brings us home. Let's go to XJ next. What prop bet are you looking at for tonight's game?
So I'm going to give my prop bet. I do want to say about my Cole Anthony bet that he definitely had the volume. He took 18 shots, but shot 33% overall, 0 of 5 from 3 after going 6 of 10 in his previous 2 games. So as a data guy, that's a win in my book. Like things don't break out the right way sometimes, but
good process, bad results. I hear you.
Exactly. Sean,
I would never depend on Cole Anthony for any shooting props, but that's just me.
Listen,
through 3 games, XJ was very right. So
I appreciate that. And I feel really good about that. I would take something like that every time.
What did he finish with?
He finished with 14.
So
he had 14 points on 18 shots.
Oh,
you just need to hit 2 threes. Like,
oh god.
Anyway, it's just, things break out that way. So I want to say, like, I'm probably more of the novice better per se in this group. I think everybody picked a favorite line. I think I'm the only one who picked a plus line. Is that right?
No, I took a underdog.
You took an underdog also.
Yeah, because the under was plus one.
The winners took a favorite. That's what happened.
Yeah,
they were smart.
Yes. Okay. It seems like a solid strategy, but I'm not going to follow that strategy.
Here we go.
I am going again with an opponent prop. I'm going PJ Washington at 15 plus points to score 15 or more at plus 114. PJ is I think actually a really underrated player. His shooting is great, 37%, 39% the last couple years. This year he's shooting 44% from 3. I think Mitch often has trouble kind of coming out to those guys, and I think he's going to have an opportunity to hit a few threes tonight. And I think with everybody that they have missing, they are going to have to rely on somebody else a little bit more. So I like that prop at those plus odds.
Okay, I like it. Sean, your bet for tonight.
So I want to go full narrative hive and pick Dennis Smith Jr. because I know he has a chip on his shoulder coming to this building. I wanted to, but then again, if I pick Dennis Smith Jr. and they prop it and he loses, like in points or whatever, I'm going to say, Sean, that's what you get for picking Dennis Smith Jr. I really wanted to pick Dennis Smith Jr. first basket at I think him for first basket is plus 1,200. Yes, his first basket is plus 1,200. For first basket for his team is plus 500. That would be a risk reward play because obviously if I hit that, then I'm Gucci for a while. But I'm actually going to go the safe route. I'm going to go off the safe route And as my son enters the no, you can't come down here. I'm doing this. All right, come here.
What's his bet?
Daddy, do you like Pope in your
He likes Dennis Smith.
I
Jr.
do.
He
No,
wants
there's
you to
none
take
of it.
Dennis Smith Jr.
No, he doesn't. My bet is I'm good. It's a bit of a risk, but what have you. And it's similar to Mensa. Yes, Saki.
is there any Pope in the orange?
There's none. You can
Do
enjoy
you
it.
do you like the over for tonight?
What he wants is the under on the amount of pulp in the orange juice that I bought, because he doesn't like pulp.
I hate pulp too. You're good.
Yes. I'm gonna go with Jalen Brunson over 24.5 points and assists.
Points and assists. Wow.
At minus 118. He went over this number he went over this number last game. He went, because I have it right here, because last game he was 21-6, so that's 27. Against Detroit, he was 17-6, so that was 23. And against Memphis, against Zach. Oh, yes, extra pulp. So if you see it says extra pulp, then it has extra pulp. All right, I gotta go. I'm on TV. So, and he had 15-9, which is 24. So he went over it once, he went under it twice, but he's right at the number. So Vegas did an amazing job setting this number. I'm going to take the over because I think he should be able to cook Dennis Smith Jr. on the offensive end.
Okay, I dig it. So little trivia. Do you know how many times a Hornets starter this year has had double-digit rebounds? Off the top of your head. Don't look it up.
Starter?
Off the top of your head. Yeah. How much? Let me give you an over/under. Well, okay, you guys give me an over/under.
I'm going to say 0.
0. Okay.
I mean, it's only Washington or Oubre. It's not a big rebound. Probably 3 times. Oh, wait. Once. I'll say once.
Nailed it once. Kelly Oubre had 11 rebounds in their last game against the Hawks. As a team, they've had 3 guys go get at least 3 times. Nick Richards has 2 backups. No, they're backup. Nick Richards, not their starter.
Okay.
Killed the Hawks the other day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he had 10 and then 11 rebounds in the opening night win against the Spurs, and then in their second game. Point is, I think the starters tonight will have a chance to get a lot of rebounds. So that's either Mitch or Julius. Something else I've noticed is that I kind of trust that Gordon Hayward against Julius Randle, advantage Julius Randle. Am I fair in saying that at least offensively that Julius Randle should be able to cook? I get it. PJ Washington is there too, and maybe the Gordon Hayward matchup is going to be more against RJ. Point being, I'm riding this Randle-sance, whatever we're calling it. I'm riding it off a cliff, apparently, because my bet for tonight is minus 140 for Julius Randle to get a double-double. I'm taking that to the bank tonight, that he'll at least have 10 and 10 tonight against this Hornets team. So that is my prop for tonight. Julius Randle, at least a double-double. That was betting and sweating. We have one super chat before we get out of here. We actually didn't mention this. That's right. It's from SB Gorilla. Thank you for the contribution. What do you think about the Knicks picking up Obi's option before picking up Quick's? They also picked up Quickly's option, so they picked them both up today. Does Quick even have an option to pick? So does Quick even have an option to pick up? Knicks win tonight by 17. We should just mention they picked up Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, and Quentin Grimes' options today. The only option they haven't picked up yet is Cam. And that's it for first round picks. Like Deuce McBride has an option that they can pick up, but they can wait until late into 2023 to make that happen. So that answers your question. There's nothing to think about. The only thing Woj tweeted out like separately that they picked up Obi's, and then the Knicks tweeted out that they picked up both of them. So
who is Woj represented by?
Is Woj CAA? Oh, that's right. Gotcha. Okay.
It all makes sense.
There you go.
I will say about SB Gorilla's comment, Knicks win tonight by 17. I do think they're going to win by around there. And so that to me makes any Knicks player prop a little sketchy. I said this last time when you picked Andrew, you picked your Julius. Well, you didn't pick it, but you mentioned
that's why I went away from leading scorer and just went
Yeah.
with the over. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah. But I do think the Stars are probably going to sit a good number of minutes tonight. So we'll see.
It's why I didn't put a number on Julius's points. I solely just
Very
went with
solid.
10 and
Very
10.
solid.
10
Yeah,
and 10 is all I'm
yeah.
asking him for. You know?
I don't think this game I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. I think it will be a comfortable win, but I think you will be seeing the starters late into the fourth.
Is that because they need to be, or because the head coach absolutely needs them to be?
No, they need to be. Like
Okay.
okay. I don't think the lead in the fourth quarter will get to the point where our head coach says, I can call off the dogs. I can see them. I think they'll cover, but it wouldn't be surprised me if this game is 112-101 or something like that. So we'll see.
I can't imagine who's going to score on the Hornets. Like who?
Again, this dude, what's his Nick Richards had 9 for 9 of 20 points and 11 rebounds against it's silly season. So
also smallest of sample sizes. And granted, one was against the Spurs and their G League roster, and one was against the Hawks and their G League defense. But they are fourth in offensive rating through 3 games. It's 3 games. It's overreacting. They're not facing a team that tries on every possession like the Knicks. I'm just saying, like, they do score. They have shown they can score through 3 games. Maybe tonight's the game they don't. So we'll see.
What they have is a bunch of guys that will put up shots as they will go in. Like, listen, Kelly Oubre is going to put it up. Hayward's going to put it up. PJ Washington's going to put it up. Clearly Nick Richards is putting it up. Like, they got guys that are put it up. So if it goes in, it goes in. To answer what's his name? SB Gorilla. To answer his question, now I forgot his damn question. The option. This is the front office kicking the can down the road with Obi.
Well, yeah.
That's what it is.
I think he more meant because he didn't know that they didn't pick up. He thought they didn't pick up Quicklys. So it was like, what do you make of them picking up Obies but not Quicklys without realizing they picked up both of them today?
Yeah. So but it's them kicking the can down the road. I still stand on my hot take that one of Julius and Obi will be gone by the deadline. Simply because if this 12-minute game bullshit continues, the agent, Obi's agent, who is also
CAA.
I believe it's like Leon's. I believe it's like Leon's like son or like family member that's Obi's agent. I could be making that up, but
is Sam Rose the same? Because he's also Jalen Brunson's agent.
I believe that. I can look it up, but at some point they're going to say, "Look, this is not going to work. We're trying to get our agent paid, and our agent cannot be paid if he's playing 12 minutes a game because the head coach believes in rim protection above any and all things in life." So I think one of them will be gone. And we know this front office loves to not trade Julius Randle at any chance they get, whether his value is high or low or in the middle.
Or nobody wanted him. I keep going back to that. Nobody wanted him.
I'm not talking about that season. I'm talking about the entirety of his time in the
You're right.
Because can I go on a quick tangent really quick?
We got some time. Go ahead.
The Knicks had the 3rd pick and the 8th pick in consecutive drafts. 2019 and 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Most teams, when a new regime comes in and they have the 3rd pick and they're picking 8th, they make their pick at 8 and they say, all right, we got this guy and we got this guy. We're going to see what we have with these 2 guys rocking. And our front office said, I got a better idea. We're going to hold on to the dude that's blocking number 8. and like I just thought I was just thinking about it. It was like, and I'm not shitting on the front office because I defend the front office more than most people. Like,
sounds like you're shitting on the front office. I don't know.
No. Well, I try to be level headed. Like, like shout out to people that thought that the only reason Jalen Brunson's on his team because his godfather's the thing is that president of basketball operations. Not that he's good at basketball. We haven't forgotten, but I just find it interesting. Like most teams, and I went back earlier. I realized it. Like the freaking Knicks, 4 straight years picked 7th, 8th, 3rd, and 8th, and two of those guys didn't get their contracts extended. 2 of those guys didn't get contract extensions. One of them gets 12 minutes a game, and the 4th is RJ Barrett. But I just found it interesting that think about it. How many teams do you know have a player at 3 and a player at 8, and they never cater anything toward them? Not one day. It was you go stand in the corner, RJ Barrett, and you play 12 minutes a game. I just find it very interesting. Now, listen, it could all work out, but it's just an interesting way that they chose to go about building the team. And I think if this team was a 45-win pace the last 2 years, that doesn't look as bad. But when you have last year, it's just like, you had these 2 lottery picks, and you've never said, let's see what we have with these guys and make it work and build around them. Let's just do all this other stuff.
There's such a long conversation to be had here that I just be honest with you, Sean, we don't have time to get into the ins and outs of what they could or could not have done. Their history, the history of their drafting. Like the 2 guys that they didn't extend were Frank and Kevin Knox, which I'm sorry, Frank Hive. I don't necessarily know if they needed to give an extension to Frank Ntilikina, and good Lord, did they not need to give one to Kevin Knox? Agree with you about RJ. Agree with you about Obi. My only real thing, like the 1 second thing I'll say is like, you got to remember where this franchise was after not getting KD, not getting Kyrie, not getting really anything other than cap space for Porzingis, and the laughing stock that this team was when Steve Mills and Fizdale, and they were in charge with like 7 forwards on the team. So I completely understand if just like a year of rehabilitation, as costly as it might have been, and probably if the correct choice might have been to like trade Julius at some point, like he made All NBA, like that did happen. As sustainable as that might not have been, like that season did happen. So like the reason to play Obi less than 15 minutes a game was because the guy in front of him was not someone you could sit down if the intention was to win games, which look, I look back fondly on that year. As annoying as last season was, I appreciate special seasons when they happen, and especially coming out of the pandemic, to actually feel good about watching Knicks basketball was not a feeling I expected to have. And we hope that things can change and get better going forward, even if it unfortunately does mean I agree with your prediction that they are not going to have both Julius and Obi by the end of the season.
I just want to say one thing super quick. I agree with both of your assessments largely. I think that the front office moves surrounding everything they've done with Obi and Randle have been justified, or at least you could justify them based on trying to maximize the value that they have in both of those players. What you cannot justify is the fact that we haven't seen Obi and Julius play together. And last year was an amazing opportunity to see what that could be and see if that could work and get Obi more minutes and experiment with it at no cost, because you would have just gotten a better pick if it didn't work. You cannot justify that decision in any way. Yeah. That's the place where I think it's an issue.
I think we're
signing Randle. I think it's fair.
I think we're all in the entire second half of last season. I was like, all right, pull the plug. That's probably why my frustration was really never with Tibbs. He was doing the only thing he has ever done. And even if his like assessment of the who should play and who shouldn't is wrong, like this is just like who he is. He was being who he was. My frustration was always with the front office, just to be like, listen, your job is safe. Emmanuel Quickley's your starting point guard. Like, let's see 5 minutes tonight of Obi and Randle together. We need to start thinking about this long term. And if you want to be part of the long term solution, like the front office needed to actually step in at some point and change the direction of what last season was, and it never was.
I think when So I think that when Leon took the job, and from everything we know about Leon, he takes input from a lot of different sources, and then he makes his decision. So he has, he's gonna be hearing differing opinions. And I think that's why, when people say that, they had this protracted coaching search, which was BS or like dog and pony show when they're always going to hire Tom Thibodeau, it's like, no, I think they were like, we can go in two directions. We can blow it up, which is why they considered Kenny Atkinson or Jamal Mosley or those guys. I think they actually interviewed Emi Udoka also, which, oh boy. Or they're like, we can try and win now. We can try and be competitive. And they're like, well, if we're going to be competitive, then Tibbs is the guy. If we're going to do a developmental tank year, then Kenny Atkinson is the guy. And I think that when they decided they decided we're going to be competitive. So Tom's the guy. And I think Tom and Leon have a handshake agreement that Leon was never going to interfere with the day-to-day operations of lineups and minutes, stuff like that, because we know the situation Tibbs dealt with in Chicago, which is why he took the job in Minnesota. He wanted full autonomy, but we know clearly Tibbs cannot run the show. He cannot cook the grocery. He cannot buy the groceries and cook the groceries as well. But I think they have a handshake agreement. Like, I'm in charge of minutes and lineups, and you're not. And I think because Leon is known Tom for 20 years, he has respected that, even though I'm pretty sure there are people in the front. Like, you think Brock Aller didn't want to tank last year? Like, you think he wasn't like, enough of this?
Yeah.
With that being said, the front office, like, unfortunately, if this team is successful and this front office gets like James Dolan decides to clean house, they can look back at those decisions, because in November 2020, I remember when we drafted Obi and John tweeted, well, I hope Julius has been renting, because we're all like, all right,
We all thought it. Yeah.
But this front office is, the fact that they value above all is like, no, we're not going to trade Julius Randle. We're going to make sure he gets to here, and then we'll trade him. And then when he got to here, it's like, well, we can't trade him now. And it's like, it's just like, at some point. And listen, I've been very supportive of the front office, because when they got here, this team had nothing. They didn't have anything to trade, to jumpstart a rebuild, to get extra picks or whatever. Like, people forget Sam Hinkie started by trading Drew Holiday and got draft capital. They had nothing, but they had a clean slate, and they didn't take it. And now they are like, these are the fruits of that, where now you have the 8th pick in the draft that you played 12 to 15 minutes a game, because the head coach, who's won nothing in his life. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's bad, but
nothing minimizes like losing to the Miami Heat, which everybody loves to.
What I'm saying is there are coaches that are more successful than Tom Thibodeau and that have been more flexible. And the fact that he cannot be flexible and say, let me see that what we have with this kid, or he's more concerned about what he cannot do than what he can do, is just troubling to me. Because I told Cedric at the game Friday, we're talking about Obi Toppin. He's like, well, he was shooting 20% for three. I'm like, yes, I understand that. He's like, he needs to improve things. But as I said that, an Obi alley-oop comes. And I was like, just let Obi Toppin do Obi Toppin things. Read the last super chat, because I think that refers to it.
Yeah, this is a good way to wrap up.
I'm telling you what to do. I'm telling you what to do. This is
SB Gorilla. Thank you again for another contribution. Mark my words. Maybe you guys agree. If the Knicks let go of Obi, any team that picks him up and gives him starting minutes, hashtag he gonna shine. And then hashtag 23.7 rebounds, 5 assists. I don't think that's how hashtag works. Look,
I swear I'm not SB Gorilla.
I was going to say, are you XB Gorilla? Listen, I'm someone that wanted them to trade Randle so they could start Obi. So I'm in the camp of like wanting to see what this Obi Toppin things look like. Obi Toppin playing through his mistakes. Obi Toppin, high volume, friend of the pod, Zach Lowe, apparently agrees with us too. all that being said, we got to run. So thank you, everybody, for watching this edition of the KFS pregame show. We do this before every game, a little bit, an hour to an hour and a half before every game. There will be a different time on Friday because the start time is 8 o'clock. So stay tuned to the KFS Twitter account for an announcement on that. You can also just subscribe to the YouTube channel. We announce it on the channel at some point during the middle of the day. So stay tuned for that. Follow XJ and follow Sean if you can. Their handles, there you go. Their handles are in their descriptions, as you can see on the screen. And until next time, thank you everybody for tuning in, and let's go Knicks. Enjoy the game.
Let's go Knicks.